Marriage Show with Regina Dopesi. Whatever it takes, you can fix it.
It's yet another evening, and this is Spice the Marriage Show, where we'll talk everything relationship and marriage. And I am Regina Dopesi. We're still in the business of domestic violence, where it is said a child that would not let the mother sleep, he or she is going to stay awake. Domestic violence has come to be an epidemic in our society, and we will not rest or even slow down till we put it off the way. We have a very wonderful guest in the house today that will be talking to us about this topic, but we will meet him after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Like I said, I have a very wonderful guest in the house today that will be talking to us about domestic violence. And also we'll be having a peace walk on the 30th of this month, which is the last Saturday of this month. And we urge all of you to come out and let's have a free walk and tell people that domestic violence is not something we should encourage in our society. Like I said, we have a wonderful guest in the house today that will be talking to us about this topic, domestic violence. He is Dr. Michael Enedua, the president of Nigeria Judicial Federation and also a security consultant. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And I can see here you're a doctor. Are you a medical doctor or
No. I'm a doctor of letters.
Okay.
And so if there's a medical emergency here, trust me, I'm the last person you should call on.
Okay, so you're invariably, just like you said, you're a doctor of the letters.
Letters, yes.
And with your federation judicials, can you please explain what is it all about?
First of all, the word is pronounced jujitsu.
Jujitsu. Okay.
Jujitsu.
Jujitsu.
So jujitsu,
and what does that mean?
It's a martial art from Japan that teaches one the same values of as karate. So jujitsu is actually the original martial arts that judo came out from. So jujitsu is it's a Japanese martial arts. Teaches you the values of respect, humility, integrity, indomitable spirit, and it helps you to protect yourself in case you have an assailant trying to come across you.
Okay. And I believe your federation has done a little bit about our topic today, domestic violence.
Well, really, for domestic violence, it's been a challenge, really.
Yes.
There are several people in the divide. You have children who are affected. You have women who are affected. So we have some self-defense courses for women to help protect them, since women are actually the majority of the casualties in domestic violence are women and children.
Okay.
So we have programs where we teach women self-defense and teach children self-defense. Then we have also an NGO program we're running right now with Street Kids, using martial arts to make them better leaders of tomorrow by focusing on the values associated with learning martial arts.
Yeah, in as much as I know, just like you said, that you're using it to teach children on how to defend themselves. Don't you think at some point they might use it negatively?
No, not really. You see, when you learn martial arts, it's 80% not about the fighting.
Okay.
It's actually 80% about building your self-confidence. You see, there are values enshrined in martial arts learning. Like, you could do a technique over 100 times. So to perfect your technique, it takes a while. So that's perseverance, which a child is learning. He learns something over a while before he gets it. So martial art teaches you perseverance.
All right.
So martial arts teaches you also integrity. Integrity meaning that you must keep your word, which we tell our students. You must keep your word. You must always stand upright in anything you do. So your values matter. So away from the kicking and punching, basic techniques, we also teach values. So it's 80% more of the values than of the, because it's like you with so much responsibility given onto you. If you know you can do this, doesn't mean you have to use it on somebody except to protect somebody. So it's the values we are more interested in teaching.
Okay. Okay, let's fall back to the domestic violence when it comes to homes. It has been an epidemic in our society, and a lot of families have been recorded about domestic violence. And just like we all know that domestic violence is not just about between husband and wife; it's also about you can be violated in the office or anywhere. What can you say about when it comes to domestic violence at home?
Well, you see, we'll start from the nucleus of the matter, home, the home front,
Yes.
which is basically where most of these issues arise from.
Okay.
Husbands bully wives. In the basic African tradition, man is seen as king
Okay, over the wife.
over the wife.
family.
So he has to provide for his family, he has to look after the wife, he has to provide for the kids. So most times, some of these issues arise from the family, where we've had cases. There was a student once that I spoke to, and I have to digress a bit now here. God gave man the strength to work and provide for his family, and God gave woman the tongue to say
To whack.
kind words to him, so he can.
Okay.
Do you understand? Continue to work hard and provide for his family. So a man works hard, comes back home. The wife soothes him with sweet words. Welcome, darling. Let me take off your shoes. Let me get you breakfast, dinner. Let me do this. So basic. Now, you get because the environment we are in. There's so much tension in the environment you're in.
Okay.
So there's so much. The outcomes of most situations is always like it's going to lead to violence. So most time when I talk to people, like most of my students that have been in those situations, you can always project an outcome. When you're in a relationship, you know if this person is violent, if it's aggressive, based on, you understand how you relate to each other. And then as time goes by, economic situations as well make people get very
Violent.
violent
When
and
money is not
aggressive.
coming home.
So most times when you come into those situations, you like I advise most people, walking away doesn't mean you're weak.
Okay.
Walking away could actually mean strength,
Okay. You're bold enough
to walk away from the
Okay.
drama. And you see, things escalate rapidly. Husband tells wife, "You are mad. You're very stupid." The wife has to say something to hurt him.
return,
It
yeah.
escalates. The man is upset that the wife could talk to him in such a manner, and before you know, he lands a slap. Maybe wife grabs his shirt and he starts beating her up.
Okay, now. Let me take you back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, in recent times, it has been. Have you heard of? Okay, let me say, in recent times, we've had a lot of cases where women violated men. What do you think he's bringing up? Because you just said something now that men have been assumed to be the king of the house, of the home, rather.
Yes, yes.
And they are the ones that call the shots and everything. But in recent times, women are standing up for themselves. Why is it happening?
No, but
at
let
this
me
time?
tell you how it works. Okay, in the last 20 years in Nigeria,
Okay.
we've not actually examined the problem of the male child. There's been a demographic shift from women. While growing up in Nigeria, women were never security guards.
Okay.
Women were never mechanics. Women were never drivers. But
Okay.
in this century, in this decade, women have taken over the work for the men. So while we're advocating for women,
Also advocating. But
We-
what do you think? Why has it changed?
no,
Why
I'm
is
I'm
it
coming to
changed
that.
so
I'm
much?
coming to that. While we're advocating for women, we forgot about the male child.
Okay.
Women pushed themselves because it was believed that they are less privileged than men.
Okay.
So women have pushed themselves. Women, I can tell you, if you take a data collation of men doing well as to women doing well,
Okay.
you see that there are more women, do you understand, taking over breadwinner positions in their family.
Okay.
And because men have been neglected over time.
You think so?
I will tell you this because I talk to young men having work.
How? Because if you say men are the ones that as being the king of the jungle, if I have to use that word.
I said perceived.
Okay,
When I
perceived. Okay,
yes.
okay. But that is what is happening in our African culture.
No, you see, the African culture states this.
That
Yeah.
men are the.
It is believed that men are the breadwinners of
Okay.
the family. But I'm saying in the last decade, there's been a paradigm shift. We have women who've assumed breadwinner statuses
Okay,
because the women have pushed. They've got to a point where that they are going all out now.
okay.
And while women are going all out, the men are retarding back.
Why?
No, but in society, let me give you an instance, okay? I talk to young men every day, okay? Between the ages of 17 and 35.
Okay,
Okay, my NGO, I work with young men.
okay.
Young men who have violence issues, young women as well. You have a demographic of young men in Nigeria who, I've met some who are very smart as well.
Okay.
I've met some who sometimes I weep for Nigeria, who believe that they could live off women.
Okay. Because the impression is that women, they are not supposed to be out there, they're not supposed to do this. So when you say that women are coming all out and the men are being neglected, I'm really finding that difficult to put together. But we'll be going on a quick break, and when we come back, I will really want you to elaborate on that
I will
particular word,
definitely
because
explain better for you.
I can't really say, I can't really believe that men are going back while the women are coming forward. If you had asked me, I would say up women. I'm not a feminist. We'll be going on break, and when we'll come back, we will continue. But if you have any question or any contribution on this topic, please feel free to send us a text on any of the numbers scrolling on the screen. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We're still talking domestic violence. I'll always say if you have any question or any contribution on any of our topics, please feel free to send us a text on any of the numbers scrolling on your screen, or follow us on all our social media platforms. Before we went on break, Dr. Michael was just telling us that the men are pushing back and the women, we have to hail them because they're coming forth. But I don't see how that is happening when it is a man that is still marrying the women, not the women. We're not turning to Indians. We're not changing our culture or what we are practicing here in Nigeria. The men are always on top of their games, where the women are following them. So I would really want Dr. Michael to tell us how the men are going backward while the women are coming forefront to be the breadwinners of the family.
Okay, thank you for this. Now, if you take statistics of families, okay, from middle income earners to low income earners to people down there, you'll find out that the women are more tenacious when it comes to struggling for the family. Over the years, if you look at Nigeria, for instance, you see female security guards, which you never used to see years back, if you remember. Yeah. You see female drivers, which you never used to see years back. There are certain communities in Nigeria where I've worked with. Women are the ones who even go to the farm.
Yeah, a lot of times women
go to the farm. So you see, this role of breadwinners, a lot of men have failed in that department and have allowed women to take over. So when I talk about women advancing and men being stagnant over time, definitely there are men, there are exceptions to the rules in some communities. But on an average, if you look at Nigeria averagely, I work with a lot of young people, a lot of young women, a lot of young men, and it's always the same story. There are jobs some young men will say, I have a degree, I'm not going to do this. But some women will be ready to, you understand, do those same job, do that same work. And she will advance from there.
Okay.
Let's look at most of the SMEs coming up. A lot of them are women.
True.
Look at most of the young entrepreneurs coming up. Most of the young millennials you have in Nigeria.
So invariably, with what you're saying, the government also should give women a chance.
No, not government give women a chance. don't get me wrong.
The government
Don't get me
give us
wrong.
a chance
What I'm
because we
saying
are
is,
coming out.
what I'm saying is this: there's been too many programs focused on advancing women
Okay.
that we've totally forgotten about the young men out there who's advancing their cause. There's a better life development program for rural women. There's a better life development program for schoolgirls. There's a capacity building program for market women.
But none for the men.
Who's talking about the men? The men is like they believe they would. Do you understand this? They are helping themselves.
No, because we're not over. If you want to look at it that way, for God's sake, God gave the men everything, the power to rule.
No, you don't get it. God gave.
No. I get what you're saying. God gave the men the power to rule. So if for any case they are coming back, leaving what God has put inside them for them not to, because this domestic violence that we're talking about, it has always been the men violating the women.
Yeah,
It has always been a man beating the wife.
No,
It has always been a man killing the wife. But in recent times, the women are now coming out to do all of these things. So for me, I think it's not about the women. It's not because that all these things have been put in place for women. I also think the men too, they are going on their own. They are going backward on their own. They can also build up things for themselves.
Like I said, I was digressing.
Okay.
Now, back to the issue of domestic violence, which we spoke about. Okay.
Okay.
You see, domestic violence are two ways. Okay, there are two sides of the continuum. It's not until I effect physical abuse on you.
True.
Do you understand? Domestic violence could be verbal. I have one of my students who was in an abusive relationship for 12 years. For 8 years. His girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend then, used to abuse him every day until the boy was scared. This was a very strong boy, does well in class. Good boy, but each time he goes to the girl always had some verbal abuse or the other. And each time they break up, he always came to me for counseling. He said, Sensei, this girl has been abusing me. This is what
and he's always going back when
and he said he loved her then. So so we had a talk one day. And I said, every time you break up with this girl, who comes back to beg? He said he's the one. I said, how many times has she come to beg you? He said he can't remember. I said, do you see there's a problem in this relationship? He said yes. He said, now, later on, when he broke up with her, she even got more aggressive. That I had the impetus to break up from that relationship.
Who said that? The girl said that?
He came to me, said the girl felt very angry that he could break up with her.
Okay.
Do you understand? Now, when I say these things, most cases of domestic violence start from a verbal point.
Angle, yeah.
Now, I'm always talking about preventive.
Okay.
When two people are having a discussion, you always know when one person's voice is more higher pitched than the other, you know it's better to walk away. Like in self-defense, is what we call, if somebody is in your space, if you're talking to someone and you find out that the pitch of their voice becomes higher, it does not mean that you're the weakest person if you walk away.
Okay.
Sometimes walking away saves a lot of drama.
Okay.
I mean, a husband and a wife exchanging words. Sometimes walking away saves you from saying certain things. Do you understand? You're not supposed to say.
Just like they say, silence.
Silence is golden. But
golden.
if there are situations where some people are overbearing, I'm talking to you and you're walking away from me, are you all right? Then it now becomes the case of the same person who's talking to you and walking away decides to maybe touch you or pull you so that they can get your attention. So in these cases, there are basic self-defense techniques you can teach.
Okay.
And then always protect your space.
Okay. Just like we shifted a little bit from what we were talking about when you said the men are coming back, I would really want to maybe you would say something to the men concerning that, because for one to realize that women are really coming out to fight for themselves, and nobody's looking at the men's side, which is the cause of what is happening in our society today, like the women violating the men more. in
Well,
recent
I would
times.
say
And-
the women are violating the men more. What I would say,
No,
the
but
term-
what I'm trying to say is, in recent times, we
A lot of
recorded
aggression.
yes,
A lot of
we
aggression.
recorded a lot of deaths where women killing their husbands
Yes.
for one reason or the other, or just like you have said, defending them. I don't know what I would call it, defend, or I don't know what to call it, but for a woman to even do that, I don't think is the right thing for us to talk about. All right, let us just look at the people, just like the housemaids that people that can't speak for themselves, even when these things are happening. Because one of my sorry, what will I call it? You missed it. Okay. All right. One of my reporters said something about a girl that a housemaid that was brought for a woman, and this girl has been there for a long time with this woman, and this woman keeps punishing this girl, hitting her, doing a lot of things to her, and according to her, she said this girl is not even aware of where she is and how she can even live back home to her family. On that kind of case, what can you say? How do you think we can help such people?
Okay. First of all, advocacy is key.
Well,
Advocacy
the
is
case
key.
they cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot.
And you see, there are cases. There are a lot of people in silence as we speak.
Yes.
Do you understand? They are being affected. There have been cases of rape where a young girl, because she's working for a boss, she's been subjected to rape every time, but she can't, you understand, cry out. So she's being abused constantly. So you see, in those cases, you and I are not, we don't have radars that we can be locating these kind of cases.
Okay.
But anyone that is brought to our attention,
Yeah.
will do an intervention.
Okay.
Like recently, we had an advocacy we did for street girls
Okay.
teaching them self-defense. Each time you talk to the girls on the street, we're talking about girls who are who stand on the streets every night. Let me say that mildly. They face domestic violence as well,
Yes.
because a lot of people would actually try to patronize them, then beat them up at the end of the day. And we have to teach them some basic self-defense to protect them. Not that we're promoting what they do. We're not supporting what they do, but we're just looking at they have hazards in what they do.
Okay.
So you'll talk to them, try to make them change. They will explain the problems they have, family problems, family challenges they have to get back to. But again, you need to help them. So you teach them basic self-defense. If somebody accosts you, this is what you do. If somebody does this, you have pepper spray, protect yourself. Well, we teach them how to protect themselves. So if you have house helps or maids who are being subjected to certain forms of domestic violence, you cannot, if they come out openly and say it, there are different organizations as we speak that would actually advocate their cause. NAPTIP is doing a very good job of that right now. If you have a case reported to NAPTIP, they would follow up.
Okay.
Recently on social media, there was a little girl, maybe around 9 or 10, that the boss beat her until she inflicted wounds on her back. And some people are advocating her cause right now. You see, the world has, social media has really done a lot for the world. Immediately you present a matter on social media, there are people who would advocate that person's cause.
And you know, there is also this thing that social media too is causing a lot of wahala in families, husband and wife relationship. You know that.
Yeah, you see,
It's a give and take thing, it's a two-way thing.
social media doesn't solve your problem.
Not at all.
Do you understand? You sitting down together and discussing it out, do you understand? Solve the
Yeah.
problem. Every couple have challenges.
Yeah.
Some women can be so annoying sometimes in marriages, and the men just want to breed. I mean, I had a friend of mine, the father was celebrating their 60th anniversary. No, 50th anniversary then. And I was greeting Baba, good evening, sir. Happy anniversary. And Baba, you're not looking happy. Baba said, I just quarreled with my wife. Every time she's going up and down, I just quarreled with my wife. I mean, after 50 years of marriage.
That she was just going up and down. That's why they're quarreling.
I don't know what caused the quarrel, but Baba was not happy. He was coming downstairs, greeting him. I saw the frown on his face. I said, Baba, are you okay, Baba? You're not happy. He said, Don't mind me, Jerry. I just quarreled with my wife. I said, Baba, after 50 years, you'll be celebrating now. So you see, certain people over time know how to handle these issues.
Okay.
So I think what we need to preach, first of all, is we can't identify all victims of domestic violence. But we can push for advocacy. And we can teach them how to protect themselves.
Okay.
So self-defense, how to protect yourself is key. But again, there are ways to protect yourself you need to let people know. Things escalate rapidly. Sometimes before it gets to the point of violence, you can
Pitch it there.
But again, if you've been in a relationship and the person has showed you violent tendencies,
You can help out.
do you understand? Well,
Time.
you can't change this person.
You can't change anyone.
That's why I said, look, like I still advocate this. The women's cause have been promoted over time, and men, a lot of people are not championing the cause for men. So you have a lot of young men who have not really understood what it means to be a man. If you talk to young men between the ages of 17 and 33 or even 35, you'll find out that there are so many people in that demographic who tell you that bros Agohama Egusiam without having a job.
Okay.
They don't believe in hard work. You talk to some, they'll say, what's my own bros? If I see one rich baby like me, I will follow him. If you talk to them regularly, you get to hear those kind of stuff. I mean, I had a case once. I was talking to a group of young men, and they were telling, bros, all this body, all this gym, where with the gym? We must get better woman, where go follow us. And I'm like, okay. Don't you know you can provide for the woman? I say, no, who they look for woman, where go they provide for? They look for woman, go provide for me. And you speak the minds of several young men in that demographic.
All right, thank you so much, my wonderful viewers and fans out there, for staying tuned at this hour and time to watch Spice the Marriage Show. We cannot give you nothing but the best. We are still talking about domestic violence. Women, yes. They said silence is golden. It's not everything we have to respond to when our husbands or our boyfriends says to us. So please, we should try as much as we can to keep ourselves together. For those that are being violated out there, for those that are experiencing domestic violence, please don't stay shut. Don't keep quiet. We have our Human Rights Commission, and we also have NAPTIP, where you can do all your reports. You can lay all your complaints, and I think they will take it up from there. But if you cannot reach out to them, please feel free to call us on any of the numbers scrolling on your screen, or follow us on our social media platforms. We will reach out to you, and we will see how we can help. This is Spice the Marriage Show, and I am Regina Dopesi. Like Spice will always say, whatever it takes in your relationship or marriage, you alone can fix it. Bye for now.